The roads tell our stories of movement, of connection, of survival. But behind every journey is a choice: to obey or to ignore, to live or to risk it all. As the holiday season approaches, Nigeria's highways become more than just roads. They become test grounds for discipline, vigilance, and life itself. This is the story of those who drive and those who keep them alive. The holiday season brings excitement, families reunited, cities alive again. But it also brings something far more dangerous: more vehicles, more pressure, more risk. FRSC prepares for this moment months ahead, because on our roads, one careless move can change everything. For some, safety is a way of life. Seatbelts, speed limits, periodic checks, not because they fear punishment, but because they value life. Drivers like these prove that responsibility is contagious.
My motivation for following the safety rules is the fact that it not only keeps me safe, but it keeps other road users safe. My driving style is, as much as possible, obey the law. And you have people around you that feel that you're a dumb guy, now them sharp pass, so they tend to go faster than necessary in certain situations, take turns without necessarily indicating. Like you have the taxis that will go from the middle lane and just stop and go to the side of the road to pick up a passenger. And when you are driving carefully, you tend to be on the lookout for such, so you avoid it. And people, especially when it comes to traffic lights, you stop before the pedestrian crossing, and then you have people behind you honking their horns. This guy, you're an idiot, there's still space in front of you, why don't you move forward? But at that point, when you move, where the pedestrian is supposed to cross? And the truth is, the distance is not random, it's calculated. That's why you have, by the time from green, before it goes to red, you have the amber countdown, 3, 2, 1. That gives you ample time to stop. Also from red to green, that 3, 2, 1 amber countdown, some people start to move before then. But by the time you get your green, you will have gotten to where you should be able to continue moving. But if you're already there, right there, when it turns green, the other person might not have stopped. That clearance time is not enough, and anything can happen. So it's always safer to follow the rules. There's less stress. I mean, it's predictable. So to say you're a sharp guy is not by how fast you can go, but how carefully and safely you navigate from one point to the other.
But not everyone understands the weight of their actions. Ignorance behind the wheel is never harmless. One rule broken becomes someone else's nightmare until education turns awareness into accountability.
In the last 35 years, we have been talking about sensitizing drivers. We've been going to motor parks to speak to drivers, and we realize that the output is not as expected. We realize that when we get to motor parks at about 8 a.m., the drivers that are really the target audience are already off the motor parks. So what we see are the loaders, the management of the park, and maybe the few commuters that have no bearing to what message we are trying to put across. These drivers don't even listen to TV. When they retire home to listen to TV, you see them watching Nollywood. And when they want to listen to radio, they can play music from the park to their destination without hearing a single word of road safety. And that's why we say this time around, let's make use of the commuters with them as our ambassadors. So we sensitize the commuters to serve as road safety ambassador in their vehicle. They caution the drivers when they misbehave, and they guide them when it is necessary. And that is what we have been able to do this year. We did it last year and we succeeded in reducing road traffic crashes by 10%, and we are sustaining it this year again. We come to realize that the bulk of the atrocities that are being witnessed on our highway are majorly a function of distraction that the drivers are subjected to, both external and internal distraction. How do you explain a situation where a driver decides to use his phone at critical period when he's on transit? It's easier for you to know when there's a tire burst. It's easier for you to know that a driver is drunk while driving. But when it comes to distracted driving, it's always a very difficult one to measure, but it's a very prominent issue when it comes to road traffic crashes, where you see a driver that is on high speed, making calls at the same time driving, getting distracted by the information that comes into the mind. People get deceived thinking that it's just the handling of the phone that we are talking about. It's the content of the information that comes to you. So it doesn't matter whether you are using arm-free or leg-free, but that information that comes into you, either a good information or a bad information, distracts and impairs your driving. That's a major one. It's so bad that drivers even text or even play music or watch video while they are on transit. That is internal distraction. And we also have distractions that are external, where the gullibility of some of the drivers, even when they see opposite sex moving along the road, they get distracted. Animals they even amount to distractions to our drivers on the road. Not to now talk of internal distractions again, where they get carried away either by eating, by drinking. Those are the things we discovered in the previous years that made us to say this year, in the line of our sensitization, we are pleading with both the drivers and the commuters to shun distraction so that they can be taken to their destination safely.
Some lessons come late, taught by pain, loss, and the shock of survival. A second chance on the road is a gift. Not everyone gets one. Scars remind us of what we should never forget.
I'm not going to be reckless when my life is hanging in the balance. Now person with the alive, they enjoy stardom and all of those things. So I know for a fact that when you are running at a particular speed, the car is in control, and I like to be in control. We're coming back from Kaduna. We had already called home to say, okay, we don't reach Abuja. And then less than 2 minutes after that call, I was just getting off of a bridge. Then it was still one lane. It was still under construction. So a tipper was coming on this, from this side of the road, and we were going this way. And this guy, the road is bent to some degree, and this guy was overtaking the tipper at a very high speed. The trailer was coming on this side, and there's a ditch here, So getting off the road was not an option. Going head on head with the tipper is not an option. I just had to slam my brakes and wait for the guy that carelessly overtook the car at a very high speed to just come hit us.
For the crash victims, we comfort them, even we show them empathy. That is, if somebody having fracture, for instance, and you are trying to immobilizing the leg, and the person is crying, you will not, because he's crying, refuse to attend to him. You have to, what you are doing is empathy. If you don't do that, the condition might be worsening. So you have to go ahead mentally, and for people who might be shouting whether they are dying, you have to be comforting them and reassuring them. That is the purpose of first aid. Reassuring them that they will get well. They will get well while you take them to a place of definitive care, which is the hospital. There was this crash that happened on the 18th of December or so. People who were celebrating end of the year party. This set of people, according to source, according to the survivor, he said they have attended a end of the year party at a certain venue, and they were going to Mpape for another end of the year party because they belong to another meeting there. And in the process, along that between Barnes and Nikon Junction, they were speeding and being under the influence of substance, under the influence of alcohol. They lost concentration, and 3 of them died instantly. Another person had multiple fractures, and the fifth one had lacerations and bruises. Then we had to take those who, after looking at them, obviously, the one with fractures and lacerations, we gave them first aid treatment by immobilizing them, the fractures, and take them to hospital. And the person that was bleeding because of the laceration, we had to bandage him, give him first aid treatment, and take him to hospital too. I feel if only they have taken care. For instance, now they were celebrating the end of the year party, and they drank and went and involved in an accident and they died. And when there are other many end of the year parties to celebrate, but because of one, they are no more. It makes me feel bad, and that lives were lost out of carelessness. If only they have taken precaution, that thing wouldn't have happened. Eyewitness and bystanders were saying that the speed at which the driver drove was too much.
Thanks to the fact that I wasn't speeding myself and we all had seatbelts on. It could have been worse. If I was speeding, you would least expect to hear that the person that was involved in this came out with multiple fractures, just his arm, and my sister, I think, broke her leg, and one of the persons we gave a lift that was seated behind broke her thighs as well. You would expect to hear somebody died or they all died. I lost time. At the same time, I'm grateful because it could have been worse again. But I lost time, and of course the painful experience, and my ego was bruised at some point because as a man that was whole just a few weeks ago, and now you are helpless, somebody has to bathe you, someone has to clean you up. You know, at first it hits different, but eventually you just accept the reality. So it was crazy, and then it changed the way I look at life afterwards. There's this saying I used to see in a lot of road safety ads, like assume everybody in the road is crazy. At that point, it hit home. That's when I knew, okay, it's not about how you are careful. You have to be careful and also be on the lookout for everyone else. Because I was careful, I wasn't speeding, I did everything right by the books, and it still happened. So it changed the way I look at life generally. Like carrying yourself is not enough. You have to assume everybody else is not. I was planning for a lot in December, and this accident happened in November. It was a Sunday. So my music was supposed to take off on some next level type, you know, but that happened. And then of course it put that on hold. And then I would say the experience was horrible because I was operated upon twice. And one of the things it took from me is, I would say, dignity and ego to some degree, because there's nothing as hurtful as being in a position where, as a man, somebody has to bathe you. You know, so you're just sitting down there. I couldn't do anything for myself. And as much as the people, I felt loved, you know, by the people, of family and friends. But looking at somebody, maybe I'm sleeping and I'm in pain, sometimes I don't even want to cry out loud because I don't want to wake the person. I'm like, this person has been up running all day. So it messed with my psyche at that point. And then it made me, of course, change the way I look at life. Like any day, anything can happen. So I started living my life every day like it was my last. I'll tell the driver who caused my accident to not be so careless, because technically the damage done to me is not even as bad as the damage, because he didn't have a seatbelt on. He's deformed as we speak. You know, so if that doesn't even teach you a lesson on its own, this should. Like, you could just end somebody. Look at where I've come. Look at where I found myself, how far I've come in life. I don't regret my experiences, because the things you go through make you who you are. I love the fact that I love my life right now, where I'm at, everything. So I cannot regret my experiences. But imagine if he had cut my life short. If I had died, and I had my sister in the car, I had 2 family friends in the car, so you would have just wiped out 4 people.
Before most of us wake, someone is already watching over the road. The Federal Road Safety Corps, guardians of safety, planning, educating, enforcing, responding.
We have already started with town hall meetings, which was held simultaneously across the Federation. And then that's just one leg of our intervention strategies for this UTAD and this embalmment period. The second leg of it, which we will soon enter, is the actual field operation aspect of it, when movements across the nation would have reached its crescendo, sort of. But right from September, we have started campaigns on all major motor parks, motorized campaigns, and also town hall meetings, but mostly town hall meetings, because we since last year we've changed our strategy in terms of this. And yes, we can do motorized campaigns, but when it comes to sitting down, we want to now go to a town hall meeting where we will bring all stakeholders. More often than not, in time past, when we take it to motor parks only, and we domesticate it with motor parks, we discover that it was not all inclusive. We have 44 corridors that we have delineated nationwide. Now, these 44 corridors will be given attention. And if you look at those 44 corridors, they are the corridors that carry majority of all the traffics across the breadth, length and breadth of the country. And usually, if you look at the way the movements, the pattern of travel within this period, you see that there is always a high volume of traffic along those corridors, particularly the Lagos-Ibadan, Lagos or Shagamu, Benin, down to Onitsha, and all those corridors that go through the southeast, and all those. Then the Kaduna, Abuja, Kaduna, all those corridors, they will be given specific intervention. We also created what we call help areas along these critical corridors. These help areas are where travelers who have even issues with their vehicles can actually pull over and get help. And where also, in the event of any untoward event along that same corridor, you activate those help areas as a buffer to the real patrol operatives who are on the road. At those help areas, we always have operatives and an ambulance on standby, for prompt rescue operation or intervention, as the case may be. All our zebra points will be activated. All our ambulance points will be activated. In total, we have about 151 ambulances. And then FRSC is one agency that have the highest ambulances across the nationwide. Yes, we can beat our chest and say it. And all these ambulances ready for deployment during this period. Even the special marshals arm of the corps will also be activated fully. And we have over 30,000 special marshals. We still have the highest and the largest volunteer force.
Their mission is simple: make sure every traveler reaches home. Strategy isn't just paperwork. It's anticipating danger before it happens. It's ensuring every patrol team knows where to be and when, because prevention is the first step towards saving lives. Some step forward, not for recognition, but for responsibility. They give their time and voice to keep others safe. Proof that road safety is a shared duty.
In an institution, if somebody comes as a leader, what that person needs to do is to continue to improve on the mandate apportioned to the agency by the government. And when we came in, my mandate is to continue to improve, to see that we reduce road traffic crashes to the barest minimum, and also the fatality and injury. More so, we have aligned with the United Nations Decade of Action to reduce road traffic crashes by 50%, by half, by the year 2030, between 2020 and 2030, 10 years. And also to make our environment that even when crashes occur, there shouldn't be death or any serious injury. And that is my focus, how to reduce that crashes, zero fatality, and zero serious injuries. What we put in place is continual sensitization, public education, engagement, advocacy, to make sure that Nigerians are abreast with abiding by the road traffic rules and regulations. Our mandate is also to enforce those traffic rules and regulations, and that's what we have been doing, getting them booked. Sometimes just probably removing those passengers and allowing the vehicle to move, so that we don't delay them going to their destination, especially when it is evening. But I think the greater part of causes of crashes in this country is the driver, the human factor. We have two technologies introduced. The one that I can say authoritatively that I introduced is the FRSC mobile app. That mobile app is introduced to not only assist the driver, but also support the passengers to know when the driver is speeding beyond the speed limit, to know the condition of the road where they need to take caution, or the driver you have to take caution, where there are potholes, where there are sharp bends, where there are issues on the road. The app will let you know, let the driver and the passenger also to take note. And also, the passenger can also use that app to be able to communicate with FRSC, either by what we call eyewitness report, taking account of what our people, my personnel are doing or FRSC personnel are doing on the road, to report to us so that we take action. Also, the passenger or driver can also use the app to let us know why a crash occurred for our commands or Zebra Point or any other security agency. Road safety as an agenda is a collective responsibility, it's a holistic responsibility, it's a shared responsibility for everyone, for every citizen to be part of. There are places where we might not be there when they would do the overloading, when they will pick the passengers to overload. Some of them are not doing it inside the garage or inside the motor park. It is outside the motor park when they are on their way to the destination. That's when they pick extra overload of passengers or even loads. But then we keep on talking to the citizens. Come to our aid. This thing is about saving lives. What life you save, you do not know how God is going to really praise you on that. And that's why we keep on telling Nigerians, support FRSC. When you see those overloading, talk to the driver. Don't allow it. And as a passenger, don't allow yourself to be overloaded. As a motorist or road user, don't allow a driver to overload. So if we, all Nigerians, come together to say that no to overloading, no to patrol misconduct, no to, road traffic irregularities, I think we'll get it right.
When seconds matter most, heroes move fast. Their work is a race against time. Each call, a reminder that every life counts. They don't always witness the happy endings, but they never stop trying to create them. On one road, caution leads to safety. On another, negligence leads to disaster. FRSC stands at the crossroads where choices and their commitment meet. Every stop is an act of protection. Every caution given is a life preserved. Some may see inconvenience, but FRSC sees families waiting at home. This season, let's choose responsibility. Let's choose patience. Let's choose life. Because somewhere, someone is praying for your safe arrival. Road safety is not a slogan. It's a promise to ourselves, to our families, and to Nigeria. Arrive alive. Your life matters.